E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Guinois Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. And that is a wonderful program that Don McGrath and Bill Heinrich created. It's an app, and all it does is ask you questions, you fill in the answers, and it enables you to put your thoughts together on whatever product or project that you're working on. If you're going to write a book, it helps you organize and center your thoughts from the alpha to the omega, from the beginning to end. And the same is true if you're wanting to present your product or your service and you want to speak directly to your ideal client. The 6minutewebinar.com, 6minutewebinar.com is something you need to check out. We're also brought to you by the Mr. Bill Heinrich, the 7 Levels of Truth. This is his book here. And Mr. Bill is a good friend of ours. And in that book, he talks about how you can turn your life around simply by letting go of all the things that do not, serve you, as far as all the physical things. Keep yourself well grounded in love and make sure that the things that do not serve you, the people, places, whatever, love them enough to let them go. And that's so important in life. And our guest today is Mr. Rennie Gabriel. Some of you fans has been watching the show for some time. We had Rennie on the show several times, about 2 years ago or so. I don't remember. But let me put up his website here. This is the one we're going to be talking mainly about, but this is his website. We get to know Rennie Gabriel, just like that, right, .com, as you see there on the marquee. But also, this is going to be what's out there important for you folks. WealthOnAnyIncome.com. Rennie started out, and through his life, most of his, not most, but big portion of his adult life, but at 50 years of age, he was broke. He's not broke now. He's a multi-millionaire. So this guy here talks about wealth on any income. He built it on any income. And ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome, Rennie to the show. He's a great friend of ours. Welcome, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you, Jim. It's always so great to be with you.
Oh, yeah. About a couple of weeks ago, I called him up and asked him how he's doing because, I know he's in some my old ticker, and we got talking about dandelion tea, and me and him, we've been getting high on dandelion tea because it's a great product for
I thought it was going to taste. I thought it was going to taste terrible, but with a little honey, it's actually great.
Yeah, it really is. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have health problems or anything like that, do your own personal research on dandelion tea. It's a wonderful tea. I don't use statins for my heart. I had an open heart. I had a heart attack, open heart surgery, and 4 bypasses. And the other day I had to go to see the doctor. And wasn't anything concerning my heart. It was one of those deals where you kind of skin your ignorance and you need to go get it checked out. That's what happened. And he checked my blood pressure, said, it's 129 over 67. That's not bad for a 74-year-old goat. But do take our advice and please check out dandelion tea for you and your loved ones. I think you'll be glad you did, because we don't have any product to sell here. You can pick it up right anywhere. Whole Foods, grocery store, wherever, And Rennie,
even Amazon.
Oh yeah. The brand that I pick up, and they do not endorse a show or anything. This is just a nicety to know. It's I brought this in. It says organic dandelion, and that's the company right there. I should have looked at it before I turned around. Versana, I think it is. Versana. We picked it up locally and it works great. It really does. So check it out. Rennie, I tell you right now, our conversation from, tea for our heart, we got up to our minds and we got talking about real estate. And I was sharing with Rennie. Now, this was before we had email addresses and cell phones. I didn't have a pager back then. So it's late 80s, maybe early 90s time frame. I went to a real estate convention and I wanted to learn a little bit about flipping real estate. And I'm sitting in there. I just wanted, come and, just observe and see if if there's anything in there that made sense to me, And to be honest with you folks, it was one of those deals where it was free to come, but you had to pay to get out of there. That's about what it was, because it was Rennie, I declare, I thought, well, and this is my advice to everybody out there in TV land. If it's a good deal today, it's going to be a good deal tomorrow. Take a deep breath and relax, sleep on it, okay? But high pressure salespeople, they don't want you to even think about it for 2 minutes. And I started, I walked around the side, on the outside, and I was going around the corner and I was heading for the door, trying not to, catch anybody's eyes. There was a man and a lady standing there at the table where I had all of these courses that they wanted to sell us. And both of them, ladies and gentlemen, both of them turned and looked at me like, you must be some kind of stupid about that high going out that door. I mean, I just, I didn't even want to make eye contact with these people because it was a pressure type of close. And Rennie and I got talking about real estate, and he's been, oh my goodness, I'm just going to remain quiet since he's the guy that built wealth on any income and I didn't. So I'm just going to turn the mic over to Rennie and let him share whatever he would like to with the audience out there, if you would, sir.
Oh, you betcha, Jim. And it's funny too, because I've been in those same kind of seminars. Fortunately, I also read the different books without the high pressure.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I don't know if one of my dogs, if you're hearing that.
That's okay. We're dog lovers here. Don't worry about that. We're just down to earth people. So let him bark.
I mean, I'll have anywhere from 2 to 4 rescue dogs in my house, which is where I donate 100% of the profit from my teaching other people about how to handle money powerfully.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been in those same kind of rooms. I don't like the pressure. And so, when I'm talking to people, it's about, if this is going to work for you, terrific. If it's not going to work for you, fine. If you want to talk about it with your wife, fine. If you want to think it over and come back to me later, fine.
Yeah.
And I guess the sad part is, on one level, that's okay. On one level, it's like saying, I don't really care about you. I don't care if I get your money or not. You'll lead your life one way or the other, and it's not going to impact me at all.
Yeah.
That's one way of looking at it. Second way of looking at it is, it's really important for me to serve you, and I know this product will serve you, so I'm going to push as hard as I can to get you to buy it and use it.
Absolutely.
But a lot of the rooms you and I have been in, that isn't where they're coming from.
No,
we want your money in our pocket. That's simple.
Yeah. They make it they make you feel guilty, walking out, because they tell you, hey, it's free to come, but you got to pay. You feel like you got to pay to get out of there, But
and it's sort of like, you and I also had a conversation about, my gosh, they're making me feel stupid if I don't buy this.
Yes.
And all it really means is, they're really doing a good job. If you feel like, I must be stupid if I don't buy this, they did it so that they're going to get your money.
Yeah, exactly. And I never like to do business with anyone like that. And I'm going to do one thing I don't normally do. I'm going to remove myself from the stage to give the camera on this platform we use in the studio more room, because I want Rennie to share a little bit about where the 100% of the profits go through for the sheltered soldier.
Okay,
And
just do
I
it
must,
for a
I
short
must,
time because otherwise
okay.
it's going to pick up the whole rest of the room. But yeah, just you can do it for a short time, then come back. Okay, so right here you can see it says profit. Well, it says 100% of the profits are donated to charity. This is one of the charities that gets a large share of the profits. It's called Shelter to Soldier. And what they do is they rescue dogs from high kill environments, dog shelters where they could be euthanized. And
Mhm.
those animals, if they have the right temperament and they're the right size, they are trained to be service animals for
Mm.
soldiers who've come back with
Mhm.
PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, other issues. And so you got a dog that could have been euthanized,
Mm.
preventing a soldier who has these issues from committing suicide.
Mhm.
So every dollar that I donate to that charity is saving 2 lives at a time, a
Yeah.
dog and a veteran. And it's just amazing what these dogs do for these people. They bring them back into
Oh, yeah.
situations where they were homebound, they were afraid to go out, they couldn't go with their children and attend a soccer
Mm.
game, they couldn't go with their wife to the grocery store. And now
Mhm.
they're able to function with their family
Yes.
and function with society and get
Yes.
jobs and pay taxes and contribute back. Where
They have
before,
that. Yeah.
yeah, they were
They
just
have that
sitting home
continuous. Yeah.
collecting, benefits and
Yeah.
ready to kill themselves.
Oh, yeah. We had Dustin on the show there a couple of times, 3 or 4 times, and
Mhm.
he was on our show, and he has a service dog. He works there with them at sheltertosoldier.org, and I tell you, it's really amazing because dogs, you've got a 24/7 loyal friend, and that's what they need.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Well,
exactly what they
it's a
need.
two-way street.
Yeah.
This is a loyal friend to them,
Mhm.
and they take care of this dog. It takes them out of
Mhm.
their own stuff as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, the dog will get the paper, turn on the lights,
Mhm.
wake them up in the middle of the night if they're having night terrors,
Ooh.
pull them out of a department store if they're starting to have a meltdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, amazing relationship.
Oh, yeah. And one of the great benefits, too, ladies and gentlemen, this might be a benefit for someone out there in TV land. Uh, we do know that there was one person who saw this program about Shelter to Soldier. Get my S's going here. And, but they came up with an idea of just having, these little dogs, comfort dogs, and go in and had them, registered and met all the criteria they had to meet to go in once a week to old folks' homes and let them visit with, a pup or two. And I
I,
think that's a wonderful thing.
it's so funny. My wife and I did that. We had one of our dogs certified to go into
Mhm.
old folks' homes,
Mm.
and the people just light up seeing a dog. And
Oh,
now
yeah.
we have a dog that we're getting certified to go into children's hospital and be
I
with
love it.
small children.
Mm.
So yeah, our
Yeah.
we like our dogs to what I want to say uh, support themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Let them just be dogs because they pick up on so much so quickly. And they can look at a child or a soldier or anybody that's hurting and maybe have a health issues, and they can pick up on it like that, and they're there for you. And
Absolutely.
it's just amazing. On the background there and on the marquee, we see wealthonanyincome.com. I'd like for you to share a little bit about how you're beginning, how that came about, your mindset, and what is wealthonanyincome.com, if you would, sir.
Absolutely. So the reason it has the title Wealth on Any Income is, like you mentioned, I was flat broke at age 50.
Hmm.
I had been researching for years how to handle money effectively. Now, the sad part about this is I was certified as a financial planner
Mm.
and did not have the basics of how to
Oh.
handle money on a day-to-day level. It's not in my coursework. Also found out it's not in the coursework of CPAs. I mean,
Hmm.
most parents can't teach this to their kids. They can't teach what they don't know. The
Yeah.
school systems don't provide it. I mean,
Hmm.
so far out of the United States, we got 50 states.
Hmm.
Out of those 50, 11 of them finally have a requirement to graduate high school that you have some level of financial education. Unfortunately,
Wow.
I don't know what it is,
Hmm.
but it
Yeah.
could be how to buy stocks and bonds, which
Hmm.
really
Sure.
isn't, again, the basics that people need.
Yeah,
So,
because I was like you. I didn't realize it that people just assume because you know math, you can automatically balance a checkbook, but the world doesn't turn that way. It
well,
just
it
doesn't.
gets worse because I failed high school math.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
hear
So
you're a financial
anyway,
planner, huh?
yeah, right. But there's a difference between financial concepts and high
Mhm.
school math. I mean,
Right.
future
Right.
and present values, amortization, interest rate,
Mhm.
all that has to do with money, which is
Mhm.
not what I was learning in high school. I mean, the cosine of the equals at this angle. What the hell is that? I'm sorry, Jim, for
That's okay.
swearing,
That's
but
all right.
I've never used that stuff in my life since high school.
Oh, I know it. I know it.
Anyway,
I,
so
I know
the
what you
point of
mean.
wealth on any income is I'm 50 years of age. I'm earning $5,000 a month. I have finally done enough research. I've figured out how to handle money properly. I'm doing it. I'm using a
Mhm.
secret that's 5,000 years old. Maybe we'll talk
Mhm.
about that, or this could just be a
Yeah.
teaser for a bunch of other shows. But in 18 months, no, excuse me, in 36 months, I saved up $18,000.
Mhm.
I'm 53 years of age. I finally have $18,000. But what I did with it was I paired with my wife, and I paired with her and well, and added a realtor to the mix. And the three of us put together the down payment for a little 3-unit property. So the
Mhm.
three of us bought a 3-unit property. And my wife and I had half, the realtor had half. And in 5 years, because we added value to the property, we
Mhm.
remodeled it, we increased the rents for the tenants, we grew the value of that property by $500,000 in just 5 years.
Wow, that's
I
amazing.
was not earning $100,000 a year.
Mhm.
I'm earning $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
added 100,000 a year to my net worth with this little property.
Wow, that's
So,
amazing. Because
yeah.
one of the things I remember you saying many years ago when I first met you is that you were so poor, and I've been poor too. So it's I understand where he's coming from. But Rennie was out picking up aluminum cans and things like that to be able to sell, to be able just to buy the basics for his family. And so that's why we really appreciate Rennie being on the show, because he's got skin in the game. He didn't go some high pressure seminar and buy a course and read up on it. Say, I'm going to invent my own course. He came from the school of hard knocks. He's our kind of people, ladies and gentlemen. I know Rennie is your kind of people. Please go to his website there, wealthonanyincome.com. Get to know Rennie. Also, at this website, he's got two, renniegabriel.com. And we were talking about my experience in going to the real estate seminar, and I don't really know how it got going, but we're going to be talking some more about real estate here in the future, aren't we, sir?
Absolutely. Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's so many ways to buy real estate or
Hmm.
be involved in real estate
Yeah.
that don't take a lot of money. And that's the big
Yeah.
concern people have. I mean, it could
Yeah.
really be done for no money out of someone's pocket. It does still
Yeah.
require money, but it doesn't have to be the individual who comes up with the
Yeah.
money. And
Yeah. That's the
so when
mind shift for me, because I've always been brought up old school wise. If you're going to get something, you better pay for it. Because
Mhm.
when I was 12 years of age, 11 or 12, I went with my dad to the local gas station, a little grocery store they had back in the 50s, back in those days. And I wanted a candy bar and he wouldn't give it to me. So in my mind, I took it.
Oh,
And
kids will
as
do
Dad
that.
went in to pay, as Mr. Dad went in to pay Mr. Allen for the gas, he says, Mitchell, he says, I hate to say this, but he says, I think it looks like Jimmy took a candy bar. And he says, thank you for letting me know. So I get back home. I think I'm cool all the way home in the car, on the truck, right? Because we went down to
Yep.
get gas for our tractors. And you know how parents are. They know exactly what their kids are going to do. And I went around behind the barn, climbed up in a tree, and I'm eating that candy bar. He came around, looked up at me, and says, where'd you get that candy bar? And I says, down at Mr. Allen's. He says, how'd you pay for it? I says, well, Mom gave me some money. He says, boy, don't lie to me, because if Mom gave you money for a candy bar, why would you ask me money for a candy bar? He said, you come out of that tree right now. And I got whipped for stealing the candy bar. I got whipped for lying to him. Then I had to go back down with him, stand there in front of Mr. Allen, pay him for the candy bar, and apologize. So that just kind of like in my brain, if you're going to get something, you better pay for it. So it really started telling me, you can, get real estate, and not necessarily, it's going to take money, but it doesn't have to be your money. I'm going like, okay, I don't know how that works. I really don't, folks. So we're going to be doing we're going to be doing some weekly shows on that, huh?
We absolutely are, because there's more than one way of paying for it besides money. And we're going to be talking about that.
Yeah.
And, I was very fortunate, at least I was able to earn a living. I mean, $5,000 isn't much of a living, but it was enough to, keep the bank from foreclosing on my house, and I could buy groceries. And you're right. And you did remember that story. I collected soda bottles and cans just to get that refund money so I could buy food to feed my family. I mean,
wow.
We were 3 months behind on the house. The bank was ready to foreclose. At least we had some food. So I know what it's like to have no money, and to be in this situation now and be so blessed. That's why I don't have to live on the money from helping other people learn how to handle money effectively. With those profits, I can donate it all to the charity because I don't need it. And so that's what I do with it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for raising money for charity, I wouldn't even bother working anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. And ladies and gentlemen, just imagine how you would feel if you were able to, donate money to the charity of your choice, and you had the money to do it, how that would make you feel. And that's something you should cling to, because just like you're entitled to be loved, you're entitled to enjoy the abundance that the universe offers us all. You really are. So embrace that. And we're going to be going on, every Monday here for a while. We don't know how long it's going to be. It depends on how slow I am mentally between the ears. That might be one of the factors there. But the good, the bad, things went well, lessons learned, all of this is going to be revealed to you on live TV, because we want you to know the things that, that happen along the way, because there's going to be some surprises, I imagine. There's going to be some kind of disconnect somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's just what's sad to me is how I struggled with money all the way up to age 50. Because
I hear you.
The parents didn't teach parents can't teach what they don't know.
Exactly.
School systems don't provide it. Like I said, I was certified as a financial planner. Well, I didn't have the basics. CPAs, it's not a part of their coursework. They don't teach it to their clients either. So the people you turn to for help haven't been taught. It's a sad situation.
I remember, and pardon me interrupted. I remember you telling a story about you went into a bank and asked someone working there at the bank teller, could you help me balance my checkbook here? And that was a train wreck there.
It's amazing. Your mind is like a steel trap, and I don't mean a rusty one, because yes, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to balance the checkbook. I walk into the bank, and the person who works at the bank couldn't explain how to balance it.
I mean, it's not funny, but you would think someone working at as a bank, they would know all the everything like that, you know?
It's
You
their
would think.
product.
Yeah, it's kind of like the girl, the lady walks into the bank, says, these checks are no good. Well, you gave them to me. Why aren't they? I mean, this is where I picked them up, and what you give me bad checks for is worthless, I don't remember the entire joke. It's just a slaughtered version of it. But realistically, that just blew me away because here's Rennie looking for a way to balance his checkbook. Thought, I'll go to the bank. And if anybody knows, they'll know. And it was like he was, that just blew me away. It really did. That just stuck in my brain.
Yeah. And that's, so even though I failed high school math, I could still add and subtract.
Yeah.
But how to do it it's frustrating that none of these skills are taught to us. And it's sort of
Yes.
like, well, wait a second, you graduate high school and you're going to get a paycheck. They don't tell you taxes are taken out. They don't tell you how to live on the balance. They don't tell you how to do a budget or a spending plan. So it's sort of like you got money and you really don't know how to handle it effectively. You don't know how much to set aside for a mortgage. You don't know how to set aside some money for reserves or emergencies. I mean, it's like, well, you graduate and we don't expect anyone to have money. Therefore, we don't teach you anything about it. That doesn't make sense.
That's like one of the things that I've always cringed at. And that's when credit card companies just give kids in college, hey, here's a credit card, and that's a huge disservice because, of course, I don't know how the student loans are working nowadays, but I mean, the old days, they had the student loan and then have a credit card too. And they made it sound like, hey, you could just buy big things you want and just pay it off in little payments. And that's not the way the world turns.
No. It is, how do I phrase it? Two things. One, they offer these credit cards to high school kids and college kids. They've even tried to do it to the high school kids because once they're 18, the parents don't have to sign.
Right.
And there's no instructions for use. It's even worse because the banks will run contests. Like every time you use your credit card, it'll be an entry into the contest where if you win, we will pay off your balance in full.
That's enticing kids to.
It's worse than no education.
Yeah.
It's like.
That's almost like a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
It really
like,
is. I mean,
buy lottery tickets and you'll become a millionaire. I mean, it's all that same stuff. But and this is the bank doing these kinds of things. And I've seen bank after bank offer these kinds of contests. So they don't give you any instructions for use. They don't educate you on how to do it properly, and they entice you to use it so that one person out of thousands will get their balance paid off.
And you also have a book called Wealth on Any Income, don't you?
Yep.
You certainly do.
Well, the book is based on all the stuff that I learned that everybody ought to know. It even has the emotional stuff that gets in the way of people putting the practical tips to use because too many people feel, well, I don't deserve to be wealthy. I was brought up in this religious family where if you have money, you're bad and evil. I mean, first, that's the first thing we got to overcome is how we've been indoctrinated to believe it's better to be poor than to be wealthy. Well,
that's really
the wealthiest
false.
People on this planet are the biggest philanthropists. I mean, you may not agree with where they're putting their money, but at least they're donating it somewhere.
Oh, yeah. And that's one of the biggest things that's not true in the Bible because Solomon was the richest man on planet Earth at one time. All of the fathers of the Jewish religion there, they were the establishment. King David, you think he was broke? No. I mean, Abraham, you think he was broke? I mean, no. So, I mean, realistically, you're entitled to handle your fair share of wealth. from the
Yeah.
universe, from the creator himself, depending on how good of a steward you are. And having wealth does not mean you can go buy anything that you want. It's a responsibility on, just like Rennie's been demonstrating and been talking about, how he can give back to charity. And the more he gives, guess what happens? The more he gets. You can't outgive the master giver. That's what I'm saying to you, folks.
Yeah. It's funny. There's a quote from John Templeton.
Okay.
He was being interviewed for some article, and the reporter asked the question, said, Mr. Templeton, what would you say was the best investment you made? And he said, oh, tithing. And this kind of stunned the interviewer. Tithing? That's giving away money. It's donating to charity.
Mm-hmm.
And Templeton says, yeah, the more that I gave, the more that I got.
Yeah. That is so true.
It works well. My wife and I are always doing stuff. I mean, right now we've taken a homeless woman and child under our wing. I've literally loaned her my car, and my wife has given her $5,000. We're helping. This is a hardworking woman. This is not how do I phrase it?
She's not laying on the couch looking for a handout.
Exactly. This is not a charity case. This is a 26-year-old woman with a 5-year-old daughter who last year had her 2-year-old daughter with health issues die, was working for FedEx from 1 a.m. to 7 a.m, who was driving for DoorDash until the car broke down, who, was living in her car, helping support her mother and other family members. This is a hardworking person that we're helping, who just got a job to drive a city bus.
Yeah.
And so this is giving her a hand up, not a handout.
Yes, exactly. And notice how in the universe, when you're blessed with stuff like that, and people will be introduced into your life for you to be in a position to help them, that's how you become very, very wealthy deep down inside as a human being. And I tell people I grew up on a farm in North Carolina, which is true. And another true statement that I make is that we didn't know we were poor till we went to town. But what we were rich in our family, no amount of money could buy, and no thief could ever steal. The love that I had in my family, my friends, my little community. I mean, I grew up in a basic farming community, and the only time we ever got spanked as kids, growing up in the communities, when we did something that we earned it, like stealing candy bars and lying about it. That's
right.
But it's just amazing how, in Rennie's life there, he and his wife, this young lady was now brought into their life for them to be a good servant to her. We're all servants.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that a lot of people don't get it.
It's a little bit like giving back. Now, you mentioned, you didn't know you were poor till you went into town.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. When I was a little kid, we were living in a neighborhood. We were the only white family on the block, and it was all black families.
Yeah.
Now, my parents both had to go to work to support, me. This is the 1950s, and I'm coming home from school. There's no one home because both parents are working, and my black neighbors made sure I was taken care of.
Oh yeah. We were brought up in the same environment because it was common for Dad to invite some of his friends over for Sunday dinner, and they were black. We didn't think anything about it. And I'm thankful to God I was brought up in a household like that.
Yeah.
Because we're all human beings, and everybody wants to be loved, liked, appreciated, and respected. And, it's just so sad today to see the ugliness and the meanness is really being vomited on society. And so my advice to you on that, ladies and gentlemen, is do about face. Walk away from that stuff. Ignore them. Love them enough to let them go. They're going to do what they want to do. Don't let them drag you along. Don't get caught up in the emotional roller coaster of their what they believe in or what they say or whatever, because all it's going to do is drag you down. You see there on the marquee, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale on YouTube. That is a tremendous, about a 35-minute program. And if you're in an area where, or in a country, I should say, where YouTube's not available, you can go on search on your search engine, whether it's Google or whatever you use, search for The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. You can download it in a PDF form. And I've got both of them. I got the PDF form. I've also got the YouTube video, but both of them are identical. And it will amaze you what Mr. Earl Nightingale will share with you on there about you, what you're entitled to. And no one can take it from you unless you raise the white flag in your life and surrender and give it up. That's
Thank you,
basically
Jim.
it.
I just wrote that down, and
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. So that's the next thing for me to check out.
Oh, you're in for a treat. He talks about the mind. Let me talk a little bit about the mind, if I may. He says the mind is kind of like the soil outside the earth with the farmer. He says the farmer can either plant corn or he can plant a deadly poison like nightshade. And your mind being like the soil, it doesn't know the difference. What you plant in your mind is going to give back, just like the soil is going to produce the nightshade. And that's an eye opener for us, because whatever we see, whatever we watch, whatever we say, we're planting seeds in our mind. So do you want to plant some good corn, or do you want to plant some poison?
Yeah. It's so funny
goodness.
too, because every once in a while I have a conversation with my wife, because her words are powerful. What she says out of her mouth transforms situations. And there are times I catch her saying things like, I'm just so stupid. Say, you shall not talk that way about my wife. And, because, things like that reinforce the wrong stuff. It's like
Yes, it
putting
does.
the garbage in your head instead of the wonderful plants that are available.
Yeah. And like I've said many times I always have my list of things here. You can probably see I've got some things written on this piece of paper there. And I'm a list guy. I like to make my list. And for for several decades, to be honest with you, at the end of the day, I'd look at the things I had on my list to get done that day. And I was so ignorant and so short-sighted, I didn't give thanks for the things I got done. I grumbled about, I didn't get that done. Oh man, And you know what? Be thankful for things you got done, because I can honestly tell you, nobody's ever broken in at night and completed those things for me. They're there ready for me the next day. So don't worry. They won't go away. They'll be there for you. They'll be waiting for you.
Yeah. It's funny that you're bringing that up, because I've done something recently that kind of surprises me. I got into this habit and I can't even seem to stop it. But my wife had some back issues. She had surgery. She had an epidural. She was in so much pain. It made her cranky and all the rest of the stuff. And I had back issues when I was young as well. And I don't have them now. And what happens now, when I bend down to the ground and pick something up, automatically I say, thank you, God, for my ability to pick this up. I don't have back issues, and I am so grateful for that I say, thank you, God, for blessing me that I can bend down and pick something. It's just that simple. It's that attitude of gratitude that shows up in so many places and just brings so much more good health, prosperity, wonderful relationships, you name it. Oh, Jim, somehow you turned off your mic.
Oh, I guess I did. I was sitting here. They got too many switches here for me, folks. That's what it is. I'm like a monkey in the car here playing with switches. Thank you for saying that. But I tell people when I'm on stage, and I've said it many times here on the show, that I'm convinced you ladies out there, you get the ability to look at us guys and roll your eyes. The guys can't do it the way you can. And I'm convinced you get that from the senior in the sky, because when the Lord looked down there and saw Adam down there by himself, I think he rolled his eyes. I really do, because he didn't say he needed a sweetheart or he needed a woman or he needed a honey bunny. He said, that boy needs a helper. He needs some help. And of course, we don't know what Adam was doing or what the situation was there. I mean, for all we know, him and the chimpanzee, they could have been throwing tangerines at one another because he's a guy. But I'll tell you something else. When you ladies walk outside and you hear the birds singing, that's also the good Lord saying, look at my beautiful daughter, whom I love. And I can prove that point, because how many times you've known guys that go out and they want to go hunting, they get all camoed up and they go over, spend a weekend somewhere it's cold, miserable, get rained on, to come back, say, we didn't see or hear anything. And I'm convinced that's the good Lord's way of saying, well, Bubba, you and your buddy Einstein, neither one of you are one of my pretty daughters, so hush. I like to have a little humor when I'm on stage too. But Rennie, talking about wealth on any income, it's really amazing, and we're going to be this is going to be ongoing, and starting in a week or two. We don't know, so we get lined up. We don't even know how long it's going to run. It might run 4 or 5 weeks. But with some real estate sales, we're going to be working on real estate deals right here on the TV show. You'll be able to go along the journey step by step by step, and be sure and get in touch with us, and be sure and ask specific questions, because let me go Rennie's website up here again. That's Rennie Gabriel. If someone were going to contact you, which website would you prefer?
If they go to the Wealth on Any Income website, they can hear my TEDx talk. If they put /TEDx, they can hear why I say people have been programmed to believe it's better to be poor. They can get a 9-step roadmap to complete financial choice and philanthropy, plus an explanation of each of those steps. And so that's the best place to go, is the wealthonanyincome.com website /TEDx.
TEDx, TEDx.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing.
And one of the things I want to say about this conversation you and I are having is we're having a good time. This is just a teaser for real hardcore information that we're going to be passing on. People aren't getting the how-to from the show today. They're just getting little snippets of who we are. But when we're doing shows, they're going to know exactly what to do, where to go, how to do it.
Yeah. And I'll make sure I do my homework, so I'll be up to speed when we get on the air here. Because otherwise, being on a live TV show, it's very, let's just say, everything is very unforgiving. It really is, like when you cut your mic off, hit the wrong switch or something, people know that around the world instantly. But we're very excited about it.
At least you had me here to help you. Just like I have my wife to help me. Like, Rennie, you are not going outside dressed like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. In my house, I'm an old-fashioned guy in a lot of ways. And I've still got shirts, ladies and gentlemen, that's 10 years old that I still wear because they're good. They're good quality. And, I maybe wear them once a year or something. And my wife says, you going to wear that old thing? Well, it's not faded, doesn't have any holes in it. I mean, so, I'm a simple country boy like that. And I see a pair of shoes on sales I like, I'll buy 2, because if I switch them off, they'll last longer. That's just the way I'm wired.
And not only that, when you want to go back and buy them again because they were comfortable, they won't be in stock, and they'll have changed the model and they won't be comfortable.
Oh, I know it. And I cry when that happens.
Comfortable pair of shoes, I'll buy 3 pair.
Yeah, exactly. And because you know, as long as I'm clean and my clothes are clean, I don't have any holes in 'em, I don't care, if they're 10 years old or something. I mean, I really don't,
Yeah.
because
Well,
I'm
Jim,
I'm
I'm
there
sorry.
for
I
myself.
gotta one up you.
Okay.
My son was trying to remember when I ran marathons. And I
Mhm.
said, I think I was about 50. And I said, well, let me take a look. I'm going to go into my shirts and look for one of the shirts that they give you when you run a marathon.
Mhm.
It was 25 years ago. So my shirts are over twice as old as yours.
Mercy, mercy. I'm going to tell my wife to watch this show later on YouTube, because she'll say, you need to donate these to charity. And I says, well, they're still, I mean, I like them, I don't know. I'm just not I don't ask for much out of life. I'm a pretty simple country boy. As long as I got food in the house, and, I got some good dandelion tea like I have here in my cup, and, the pup's asleep on the carpet over there, and the bills are paid, I'm happy. I really am. And, it's wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to have a satisfied mind. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a satisfied mind? And if not, why not? Because money can't make you happy. What can make you happy now is giving thanks for what you have. And people ask me after I had my heart attack I laugh about it. I had a heart attack on Halloween night at midnight in 2021. I think that's funny to have a heart attack at midnight on Halloween. Maybe I don't know. I think I fell out of a tree and hit my head at grandma's house or something and never got over it. But people asked me after I had to have the open heart surgery because I had the widowmaker in my heart, and they had to do the 4 bypasses. And he says, Jim, when are you going to retire? I go, I retire? And that's a double 4-letter word to me. And my standard answer, and I mean this, I will probably retire the day before I die. If I get a chance, I'll call you. If not, I'll see you on the other side of the Jordan. That's my attitude in life. And I wake up in the morning and I give thanks for the heartbeat in my veins and the breath in my lungs. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. That's something no amount of money can buy. Those are both gifts. And that's a starting point to be thankful for what you do have in your life. Be thankful for the love that you have in your life. Even if it's only the love of a pet, find something to love, but be thankful for love, because that is a priceless gift. And it's just wonderful. And I just feel so somehow or another, I just felt motivated to share that, because we don't use scripts here. I guess you folks that follow the show already know that, because Rennie and I, we've talked about it a little bit, I think. But whenever we're talking, there's going to be thoughts that come to our mind. And those thoughts are spurned by a much more intelligent source than I'll ever be, because there's probably someone out there in TV land that needs to hear those words. We're just a voice servant in that capacity.
It's
And
just
if you want to be
flowing
great,
through.
yes. Yeah. If you want to be great, be a great servant. And how does it make you feel, Rennie, when you're able to donate 100% of the profits to charity?
It's just the best feeling in the world to be able to do that when I would have needed to be a recipient of this kind of generosity in the past.
Oh, yeah.
So to be able to do it is just such a blessing. And talking about retirement, I remember a story about a guy who used to sweep out, I think they were city buses. He would go in, he'd sweep all the trash out of the bus, and every night and he'd clean them up. And he was about age 101, still working for the bus company, sweeping out the buses. They finally talked him into retiring, and he died 6 months later.
Oh,
I don't know how long this man
yeah.
would have lived if they'd have just let him keep sweeping out the damn buses.
Yeah, leave him alone. Yeah. I mean, it's very, very important whatever you do, and if it's time for you to make an exit, exit on your terms. That's very, very important, because as long as I can be here on TV and have great guests like Rennie and share good information, you folks out there, why shouldn't I be here?
Yeah.
Should
And
I
I'm going
be,
to cite, let me cite one more study. This was done by
Sure.
General Motors. And it
Okay.
didn't matter how long people had service. If they had 30 years of service, didn't matter when they started, they could retire at full benefits. So someone who started at age 20 could retire with full benefits at age 50.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when they studied the longevity of those who retired, it didn't matter if they retired at 50, 55, 60. They were 70% were dead within 5 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's what
Retirement
happened.
is not a panacea. I have no
Yeah.
interest in retiring. You don't have any interest in retiring because you were on a farm. What do they call it when a cow can't produce milk anymore and they put it out to pasture to die?
Pasture, yeah.
What do they call it?
It's
They're
called
gonna
just
retire the cow.
retire the cow. That's correct.
I'm not interested in being put out to pasture to die.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because my dad went through a horrible experience. He was a lineman, climbed power poles, and he got hit with 72,000 volts.
Oof.
They told him the line was dead, and it wasn't. And instead of reaching up and grabbing it, which would have clamped his muscles and instantly killed him, he flicked it with the back of his thumb or finger. And it knocked him unconscious. Obviously, he comes settling down the pole. His hook's caught, and it tore up his back quite a bit. And it crossed over, and it went through his left climbing boot, a Red Wing climbing boot. Now, I remember as a kid, because this happened in 1954, so I was 5 when it happened, almost 6. I could take a nickel and stick through that hole where that lightning had come through there, that electricity at bolt.
Wow.
And he was never supposed to walk again and all that. He told the doctor, he says, I can't read or write. You can write whatever you want to in your clipboard, but I will get out of this bed. I will walk again, and I will climb poles again. And he retired in 1972 at the age of 62 because that was the brainwashing standard of that time. And by 1978, 6 years later, my dad was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And up to then, I mean, he could climb. He used to tease the young guys, come out there and say, hey, we'll go the same distance you run to that pole, I'll run to this pole, and we'll see who gets to the top first. And of course, all the young guys that run up there, not knowing, they go in there and put their hooks on the side of the pole like they're going to normally climb. Well, of course, at that high rate of speed, running real fast and doing that, the hooks just spin out and bam, their face is the side of the pole. And Dad would just do the T-bone and going up, say, where you at, son? I'm waiting for you. That was a standard joke. They love to do that on the young engineers. Wonder why.
Yeah.
But that's why it's important for you to be busy every day of your life, doing something. And the more of a servant you are, the happier you're going to be. And we're just so honored, and it's going to be a privilege. It's going to be interesting, too, for all of us as we go down this journey together, as Rennie and I go through this real estate thing. And you're going to see exactly that, just between me and you. Don't tell nobody I said this, but I can't spell real estate, ladies and gentlemen. I really can't. So, I mean, that's about how much I know about it. Real estate's, houses and property and, but everything else, I'm going to be green as a gourd on this. And everything we will share with you, you will see on our TV show. What went well, lessons learned. And we're just going to be very open and honest because that's who we are.
And we're going to have a good time.
Oh, yeah. Once again, be sure and go to wealthonanyincome.com and be sure and put the / in there and the TEDx, TEDx as an X-ray. And would you be kind enough to share again what they would get there?
Well, they have the opportunity to see the TEDx talk where I speak about how we've been programmed to be poor or believe it's better to be poor. And they can get a 9-step roadmap that will lead them from wherever they are to a place where they have complete financial choice, choose to work, choose not to work, whatever, and philanthropy, and an explanation of each of those 9 steps. So they get all that for free by going to that website link and just putting in their email.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is coming from a gentleman that was age 50 and didn't have any money, and now he's a multi-millionaire. So if you're looking for good advice, Rennie Gabriel is the man you need to go to, because he's been there, he's done it, and he can help you in your hour of need. Well, our time is gone. Our time is up. We got to get out of here. And Rennie, I just want to thank you so much for being with us today and sharing just a little bit what's coming. And my goodness gracious, you folks out there in TV land, we're all in for a treat, because Rennie loves helping people. He loves educating people. And so I'm a real challenge for him. He has probably double help me and double educate me, but we're going to get there. But most importantly, as we bring our show to a close, it is our humble prayer that you and your loved ones are blessed in all areas of your life. Be good to yourself, love yourself first, then you can love others. And Rennie, if you would be so kind to say a few words as we close.
Just that the stuff we're talking about, anybody could do. If I could do it, anybody else can do it. And it's a team sport, not a solo sport. That's going to be an important thing for us to be talking about when it comes to buying the real estate.
Wow. I'm really looking forward to it. And I know a lot of you folks out there too. Thank you again for tuning in. Bless you. Rennie, thank you again for being with us. We'll see you next time. See you on the next show.